So yeah, I do these every day. I'm just gonna start talking a little slower because I don't know, people don't stick around. So this is Astro 68, George Springer. Uh, he's number 15 on the list of all-time Astros in terms of wins above replacement. And back in 2017, he spent 6 games turning the World Series into his personal launch pad. Then he used Game 7 to stick the landing. November 1st, 2017, Dodger Stadium, Game 7, World Series. Give me a second here. There's no series math. Yeah, there's no series math left. No chance of we'll get them tomorrow. The Astros and Dodgers have dragged each other through 6 games that feel like about 15. Houston won 101 games. Then they survived Boston. Then they needed all 7 to get past the Yankees. LA won 104, rolled through Arizona, and knocked out defending champion Chicago Cubs. So in 2017, these are, without a doubt, the 2 best teams in baseball. One night decides which season becomes immortal. For Houston, the stakes stretch beyond this roster. The franchise began in 1962 and has never won the World Series. The Astros have lived through the Astrodome, the rainbow uniforms, the Colt 45s, decades of playoff heartbreak, and three straight seasons with more than 100 losses, while the organization was torn down to the studs. Houston itself is still recovering from Hurricane Harvey, and the Astros are wearing the H strong patch. It's important to remember this isn't a movie where a championship repairs a broken, flooded city. It can't. But what it can do is give people a good night together. Sometimes sports can't fix anything, but it can make everybody breathe at the same time. The Dodgers haven't won since 1988. They've got Clayton Kershaw, a loaded lineup, and a home crowd waiting to detonate. Yu Darvish starts for LA. LMJ starts for Houston. So who did you trust before the first pitch? Did you believe that Houston was ready, or did Dodger Stadium feel like just too much? George Chelston Springer is born September 19th, 1989, in New Britain, Connecticut. His father played in the Little League World Series and later played football at UConn. George grew up athletic and powerful, but he also grew up with a stutter. And that matters because Springer doesn't hide from it once he becomes famous. He works with SAY, which is the Stuttering Association for the Young, and speaks directly to kids who understand how exhausting it can be to know exactly what you want to say while your mouth refuses to cooperate. The baseball gives him confidence. Later, he uses some of that platform to hand some of that confidence to everybody else. At Avon Old Farms, Springer becomes one of the best high school players in the country. Minnesota drafts him in the 48th round in 2008, but he goes to UConn instead. So in 3 seasons with the Huskies, Springer hits 346 with 46 home runs, 76 stolen bases. So he has middle of the order lineup power and top of the lineup speed. It's a pretty good combination. He's the Big East Player of the Year and a first team All American. Houston takes him in the first round with the 11th overall choice, making him the highest pick in UConn baseball history at the time. Basketball history is a different story, but you knew that, right? Springer tears through the minors. In 2013, split between Double A Corpus Christi and Triple A OKC, he put together a 30 homer, 30 steal season. Houston called him up in April 2014, and the talent shows immediately. So does the violence in the swing. Springer doesn't guide the bat through the zone. He attacks the baseball like the baseball insulted his family. Sure, there's strikeouts, there's injuries, but by 2017, he's the leadoff hitter on the best offense in baseball. He's an all star center fielder and a starter with 34 regular season home runs. He hits 283, drives in 85, and wins his first Silver Slugger Award. Now, here's the funny part. In June 2014, Sports Illustrated put Springer on the cover while Houston is still crawling out of the wreckage. You remember the wreckage, right? The cover predicts the Astros win the 2017 World Series in 2014. It's the kind of prediction people save so they can laugh at it later. 3 years later, the man on the cover walks into Game 7 as the obvious World Series MVP, but only if Houston can finish the job. Baseball's not supposed to write itself this cleanly, right? So now we get to Game 7. Hold up. Let me back up a little bit. Springer begins the World Series by going over 4 with 4 strikeouts in Game 1. It's not pretty. He looks like he's sped up. The Dodgers win 3-1, and Springer looks like a hitter who's trying to hit a 5-run homer. Nobody on base. A.J. Hinch doesn't move him. Springer stays in the leadoff spot. Then the series changes. Springer homers in the 11th inning of Game 2, helping Houston survive 7-6. He doubles twice in Game 3, then homers in Games 4, 5, and 6. By Game 7, he's homered in 3 straight games and collected an extra base hit in 5 straight. What do you do with a leadoff hitter like that? Do you pitch around him in front of Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa? Or do you attack him and hope the baseball stays in California? Darvish's first pitch is a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and Springer takes it. It's good to look at the first pitch. Take notes, Yiner. The second pitch is another fastball, and Springer rifles it into the left field corner for a leadoff double. 2 pitches into Game 7, the Astros have the exact man that they want standing on second base. Bregman follows with a grounder to first. Cody Bellinger fields it, but his throw sails past Darvish, who's covering the bag. Springer scores, Bregman reaches second, then steals third, because Bregman used to steal bases. And he comes home on Altuve's ground out. 8 pitches, 2 runs. That's the first punch. The second arrives 1 inning later. Brian McCann walks, Marwin Gonzalez doubles, McCullers rolls the grounder to second and gets McCann home. Remember? Pitchers used to hit. But now it's 3-0 with Gonzalez on third and Springer coming up one more time. Darvish throws him a 3-2 slider and it hangs in the zone just enough. Springer launches it toward left center and nobody moves with any conviction because everybody knows. Everybody knows. The ball lands in the bleachers. Springer rounds first, screaming. Darvish's Game 7 is over after just 5 outs. The homer is Springer's 5th of the series, tying the record held by Reggie Jackson and Chase Utley. Good company. It also gives him a homer in 4 straight games, and that's something nobody has ever done within one World Series. It also gives him an extra base hit in 6 straight World Series games. Then the game starts to get quiet. Not emotionally. Houston's losing its mind. Rightly so. But the baseball settles down. Kershaw throws 4 scoreless innings in relief. McCullers doesn't have his command. It's 4 guys and lasts 2 1/3 innings. So naturally, this is where the Dodgers are supposed to turn Game 7 into yet another carnival. The whole series has been carnivals. Brad Peacock inherits 2 runners in the 3rd, strands both. Francisco Liriano gets Cody Bellinger, and Chris Davinsky gets Yasiel Puig. Then Charlie Morton takes the ball in the 6th. Andre Ethier singles home Jock Peterson, cutting it to 5-1, and Dodger Stadium wakes up for 1 minute. But Morton didn't crack, did he? He gave Houston 4 innings and kept taking outs off the board. By the 9th, Houston fans behind the dugout are louder than everybody who stayed in LA. Corey Seager grounds to Altuve. Altuve throws to Yuli Gurriel. And for the first time in 56 seasons, the Houston Astros are the world champions. Springer goes 2 for 5 with a double, a homer, 2 runs, and 2 RBI. For the series, he's 11 for 29 with 5 homers, 7 RBI, 8 extra base hits, and 29 total bases. 29 total bases and 29 at-bats. That's a 1,000 slugging percentage. Yeah. And the field splits into 2 different worlds, very explicably so. Kershaw and the Dodgers watch from the dugout. They're emptied out. Dave Roberts says the loss hurts because his players put everything they had into the season, and that it's supposed to hurt. Houston players, they throw their gloves, tackle each other, cry, and sprint towards the pile. Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio, the faces of decades that came up short, finally get to hold the trophy. Springer received the Willie Mays World Series MVP award, and his first message is simple. He says, "We're coming home a champion, Houston." He talks about the chaos of the series and how much Hinch's trust mattered after that 4-strikeout Game 1. Hinch left him first in the order, and Springer repaid him with a World Series MVP performance from the leadoff spot. Can you imagine the distance between those 2 nights? He had 4 strikeouts in Game 1 and the MVP trophy after Game 7. How quickly have you ever changed your mind about a player during one series? Neither organization goes away. Houston reaches the ALCS 7 straight times from 2017 through 2023. The Astros lose the 2019 World Series to Washington and the 2021 World Series to Atlanta. Then in 2022, with Dusty Baker managing, they beat Philadelphia and win their second championship. The first title doesn't get to remain uncomplicated because in 2019, the Astros' illegal electronic sign stealing system becomes public. MLB's investigation confirms violations during the 27 regular season and postseason. The league suspends Hinch, and Jeff Luhnow finds the club and takes away draft picks. But the title isn't vacated. And that leaves a lot of fans with an argument that still doesn't have a universal ending. The championship, that's real. The cheating, that's also real. Both facts have to fit into the same sentence. Right? The Dodgers return to the World Series in 2018 and lose to Boston, then beat Tampa Bay in 2020. In 24 and 25, LA wins back-to-back titles, and the second in an 11-inning Game 7 against Toronto. And George Springer is standing in the other dugout. Springer helps Houston return to the World Series in 2019, then reaches free agency after the shortened 2020 campaign. Toronto gives him 6 years and $150 million in January 21. It was the largest contract in Blue Jays history at the time. But injuries interrupted the first few seasons, and somehow the October reputation stays with him. By 2025, at the age of 36, Springer produces one of the best seasons of his career. He hits .309 with 32 home runs and a .959 OPS. In Game 7 of the ALCS against the Mariners, Toronto trails 3-1 in the 7th. Springer comes up with 2 on and drives a 3-run homer into the left field seats, sending the Blue Jays to their first World Series since 1993. Toronto loses that series to the Dodgers, appropriately so, in 7, but Springer hits .381 while playing through an oblique injury. In June 26, he reaches 300 career home runs. So his swing ages, his legs slow down, the body starts to send invoices, but the moment still seems to find him. Next time we leave World Series Game 7 in LA and head to Montreal, February 11th, 2017. Well, that didn't work. Blue 19 is Patrick Berglund. And Berglund already played 610 NHL games without recording a hat trick. Then the Blues arrive at Bell Center. Berglund parks himself around the net, and one goal quickly becomes two. With St. Louis protecting a one-goal lead late, Berglund gets one more chance at history. Blue 19's Patrick Berglund, and the night the wait finally ended. George Springer didn't just have the biggest hit in Game 7. He started the game with a double, scored the first run, and made the fifth run feel permanent before LA had even recorded 6 outs. Springer's World Series began with 4 strikeouts, and it ended with 5 homers, a championship, and the MVP trophy. Baseball rarely gives anybody a perfect redemption arc. But for 7 games in 2017, it gave George Springer one. So I'm the Wolf, this is Astro 68, and thanks for sticking around. Maybe I'll see you next time.